So we just talked about RPA in accounting. How about in auditing? I know you guys haven't taken audit class. So basically, like in audit, especially the traditional financial statement audit, auditors perform different procedures to make sure that the financial statements provided by the client fairly represent their economic status. This auditing procedure is also very manual and repetitive in many cases. Nowadays, you see that like the big four firms, they are like having discussions about implementing RPA in auditing procedure. But this is moving slowly because even though audit procedures have mundane or repetitive tasks, auditors' judgment still matter a lot. And that's just one obstacle. The second obstacle is that imagine you are auditor. Let's say you are from KPMG, and like you audit a client like most likely once a year, right? And you can audit several clients in a fiscal year. And the data provided by different clients usually can be very different. So that means this task may not meet the criteria of standardization, right? So if different clients give you data in different formats, it's really hard to automate things because it's not standardized. So that's, I would like to say it's a major obstacle for using RPA in audit. But it's still, auditors are trying to automate some of their work so that they can put more of their time to the tasks that require their professional judgment or that require higher level cognitive abilities. So this is also a huge area. I believe that if you do internship next summer or in the coming winter, you may be assigned to any work related to developing RPA solution for your team or for the company, or even do some provide consultation to some clients.
Abigail, I think auditors are key people on implementing these things because auditors are the ones who give recommendations to the different clients. I see this something standard that we as auditors do is we vouch, the vouch invoices and that's a standard in every client. Even though the database that we get from the client is different, we download the database, normally is to Excel, and do format the database, so it's pretty standard. And especially if a client has an ERP system such as SAP, that's pretty standard. So this should be pushed in auditors because auditors are the ones who see different clients and an auditor's recommendation. It's something of huge value. However, I see that it's reluctant, at least in EY Ecuador where I worked, we were very reluctant to deal with Helix. It was our system that we were trying to incorporate, and it was resistant.
Yeah, so if the clients that you are working with, if they are just using the same ERP system, then the data that you pull from them basically can have the same format, and that's easier for you to automate things. But if you don't have this kind of luxury, it's really hard to standardize the data. So actually, our group, like Rutgers, has been cooperating with the ASCPA. Now it's it used to be American Institute of CPA, and they came up with this idea of standardized clients data. So they put together a document which is called Audit Data Standards. Basically, this says this is a voluntary requirement for clients or ERP vendors to use the same dictionary of the database. So that the ideal way is that no matter what ERP systems you are using, no matter what type of client you are, the data that you provide to the auditor should have the same format. That's the ideal that's kind of the objective of this audit data standards. But since this standard is voluntary, not many people are following it. So the problem of non-standardization persists in this audit work. So it's really hard. In the I have been in several RPA automation work in the audit domain, and the very first thing that we do is to standardize the data. So basically, if I have time, I will show you how to do that. But that requires some, mapping. Let's say if I work with Lenny, if Lenny is my client, I know what type of data format she uses, and I know that what type of format I need, and then I can create a mapping, and then I can automate this procedure. So this is a potential way. So as I put here, when using RPA in audit process, it's very important to notice that the data for audit must be structured or standardized so that you can automate things by using different scripts. Okay, Matt, you want to say something?
Yeah, I actually wanted to touch on Nellie's point and kind of ask her a question. If she thinks that clients would want RPA implemented into certain portions of the audit because of the way it could present an opportunity to save time, money, and resources?
That's a great question. Lenny, what's your response?
Well, I think that's a great question. What happens is they don't care about making our life as auditors easier unless it is translated to money saving to them. So a client doesn't care about making our life as auditors easier unless the bill from our audit will be less, will decrease. And implementing this as an audit, like implementing as a first-time audit, as Abby said, mapping is a very huge part, and that takes time to do it the first time. So auditors want to see results like right now. And if it's going to take time for me to map and everything, it's a waste of time and they don't care about it. So that's...
Yeah, I would say that, yeah, I agree with Lenny. So like audit firms really need to, think about the cost and benefit. So the cost is, as Lenny said, like they need to create this mapping, right? They need to invest energy and time to build all the infrastructure for automation. And then the benefit might only be realized, 1 year or 2 years after that. But the good thing is that, whenever any technology is implemented in the audit procedure, people expect that the audit quality can be improved, right? Because you say that, okay, now because of automation, the data accuracy is improved. Auditors are less likely to make errors, and also obviously there is a huge improvement in the efficiency, right? You have less time. So the clients may feel that, okay, you as auditor can provide better quality audits, so I trust you more. And also this can give auditors competitive advantage. So if you look at all the Big Four's website, if you search RPA in audit, I believe that you can see some of their white papers about, they are saying we are using RPA in the audit procedure, because this is like an advertisement for them to show that they have this higher quality audit. But whether the improvement in efficiency can translate to lower fee, that's unknown, because this is really determined by the market. So I personally asked some, auditors or senior managers or partners whether, the savings of auditors' time could translate to lower fee. They said they are not sure. Because one argument is that you can say to your client, even though we spend less time on your engagement, we have better quality. So you still need to pay for that quality part, right? And also, if other auditors are not charging clients lower, why you decrease that price? I don't know. It's really an interesting thing to observe, but we are not seeing any, decrease in fees. So I think I sent you a paper about some interviews for the partners, and they said they are not seeing this trend, but we don't know. Yeah, so there are many challenges of using RPA in audit, but this is a huge, I would say, a huge opportunity for the auditors. And people talk about it a lot, and that's basically my main research area. So I have been in a project of single audits. So single audit is like a government funding audit. So like the let's say state or like universities, like non-profit organizations, they usually receive fundings from the government. And the government wants to know whether these organizations are using fundings in appropriate ways. So they perform this audit annually just to ensure that, okay, they are using the money in a good way. And that's called single audit. And in single audit, a lot of repetitive procedures, a lot of the mundane tasks. So we try to use RPA to automate things. And we, as I said, we made that mapping, we standardize the data, and it seems very like efficient. If I have time, I can show you that work. So back to the previous slide. So in the audit procedures, some of the known repetitive tasks are like reconciliation, analytical procedures, like three-way matching, internal control testing, and other things. So I have been in another project where auditors perform this real estate audits. And one task that they have is to use a tax software. So they open a tax software and navigate in this tax in the software and upload some data, download some data. It's really mindless, but it consumes like 20 minutes every time. So we made it to we use RPA to automate it, and the time reduced to 5 minutes. So you can see that the time improvement is really is significant, right? And not to mention the potential improvement in accuracy. But of course, whenever the companies decide to implement any technology, they need to make sure that there's no mistake in the coding, and you actually can ensure that the data is accurate, right? So these are so that's about RPA in audit. So it has challenges, but it's very promising. Okay. Okay, so this is the one case study that I want to show. So this is how RPA is used in the confirmation procedure. So this procedure is that the auditor open this browser and go to a website called confirmation.com, and then they extract information from. So basically, the auditor have a form, and on this form they have a list of the client's name that they want to search for. So when auditors open this website, they enter the client information one by one from this list, from this request form. And then from this website, if you search the client information, if the client info pops up, then you continue. If not, you generate a portfolio of that client. And then you go on to do other procedures. You download the data, and then you extract data from the whatever form you downloaded. So basically, this is a very standardized procedure, rule-based, repetitive. So we have this bot. So this is how the bot looks like. So here I want to ask you guys, so what benefits or challenges can RPA bring to the broad accounting or finance profession? So first talk about benefits.
What was that? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, who is speaking now?
That was me, Matt. I wanted to touch on one of the challenges.
Okay.
That it brings, as we were talking about before, I think the upfront cost is something that's definitely challenging, because this is an industry where people do want to see an upfront return on investment. And I think implementing RPA in a lot of cases it may take months or even years sometimes to see a return on investment. So that definitely presents a challenge to the way RPA could be used.
Yeah, that could be a concern. So here, so the concern is that this may take a long time, right, to realize the benefit. So here, I think that yes, that's a concern. But compared to other like alternative scenarios, like people perceive that RPA can have a shorter turnaround. Like you can achieve like positive ROA in a shorter time compared to other solutions. That's what I heard, but I don't know. But that could be a challenge. Yes. So Nick, cybersecurity. Yeah, that's a great comment. Can you comment on that?
Well, I was just wondering, because you're basically giving a bot unrestricted access to the applications, and communicating with the, like, the internet. A hacker could potentially like take advantage of that.
Right, that's a great question. So, so like in my earlier slide, like people describe RPA as the virtual workforce, right? So basically, they're like humans. They have their own credential. They can log in using their credential. So here comes to the topic of governance, right? You really have to have a strong management model to make sure that you have the access control. That said, like people who program the bot. How do I say, people execute the bot cannot program the bot. It's like you have to have these controls so that you make sure the bot is not being manipulated by someone for some bad bad intentions, right? And also nowadays the RPA providers are providing this governance structure so that people can manage who can access the bot and how to make sure that the credentials are kept safe. But this is a very, I would say, one of the major concerns of the people of the companies that are using RPA, because they really have to manage the bots to avoid, shadow IT. So yeah, that's related to like cybersecurity governance, malicious usage. Yeah, so that's a great comment. So I think I'm running out of time. So basically, these are some expected benefits. I put expected because you really have to make sure that these are the benefits. Like you need to configure your bot in a way that these benefits can be actually realized. For example, improved efficiency, greater productivity, reduce of human error, cost savings. You need to improve your the auditability of the bots and security of it. And also, so learning means that when you automate your employees' work, you really need to, as an employer, you need to reskill your employees, right? Like since they are not doing those data entry job, you need to equip them with new skills so that they can be redeployed to other departments or activities. So these are expected benefits. But as I said, if you have, like for example, errors in the bot can break down in the middle of a task that actually cannot result in efficiency improvement, and that can generate error, right? So people need to make sure that the RPA bot is working as expected. And for the challenges, we as Matt mentioned, you need to consider the cost of it. And even though RPA doesn't require sophisticated IT ability, you still need to have certain level of like programming knowledge. And it depends on like the scale of the deployment. Like for some easy tasks, it's fine that everyone can program, but for some large-scale implementations, you need to have some technical abilities. And of course, as organizations, they need to change their mindset to embrace the innovation or automation, because usually there is a resistance in employees that they think, okay, my work is being automated. So in this case, we really need to think about how do we balance or redeploy people who used to do those repetitive work to more cognitive intense work. And that is closely related to employee concerns. I think that later we will have a group talking about concerns in detail. So here we have the next question. Which of the following is not expected benefit of RPA?
I closed the VBox by accident. What was the name again?
Actually, if you go back to your VBox, the meeting ID is stored there.
Yeah, just made me enter it again.
Okay, it's 131-006-849. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Lenny. Okay, so yet here we don't expect increased error rates, right? That's intuitive. So the evolution of RPA. Okay, we are here, present. So now the automation can mimic human actions, and in the future, we expect that the automation can be more intelligent. It's like combining artificial intelligence with other automations to make automation more flexible. Like my research area is basically about intelligent automation. So my research looks at like cognitive, somewhere between cognitive intelligence and semi-cognitive. Okay, so you just need to know the trend. And about the RPA tool, so here are the three major players. We have UiPath, Blue Prism, Automation Anywhere. So the difference among the three, so basically UiPath and Automation Anywhere, they provide a free version, the community version that everyone can download and can automate things. But Blue Prism charges fees, and it's mainly for enterprise-wide application. And for UiPath and Automation Anywhere, both of them provide free tutorials, and they give you badges after you complete certain courses. So if you guys are interested in this, you can go to their website and register their courses. It's all free. And after you go through their modules, you can have a certificate saying that now you are able to, you are like a RPA, like a builder or architect, whatever. That I think will add value to your resume when you do your internship, because I know that the Big Four firms, they really welcome people who know about how to use this technology so that they can help with the audit innovation or accounting innovation. Blue Prism has video. Yeah, okay. I didn't know that. But as far as I know, Blue Prism is still an enterprise-wide application, so it's suitable for like a company wants to implement the automation at a large scale. But UiPath and Automation Anywhere can be used in a small-scale project, and anyone can learn easily by dragging and dropping.